Amid persistently elevated inflation, limited fiscal space, upcoming general elections, and various economic occurrences, analysts are now predicting a high interest rate this year. In a report, the analysis forecast that Nigeria's gross domestic product would, for the year, would soar around 3 to 3.5%. The report also captures that foreign portfolio investors will continue to withdraw and divest from Nigeria pending the direction of a new government. However, the experts want the CBN to look into tightening policies to bring down inflation amid stabilizing the currency by raising the returns for holding the naira. Well, in celebration of Africa's Shippers Day, delegates from countries in the African sub-region are in Lagos. In collaboration with the Union of African Shippers Council, the Nigerian Shippers Council is hosting the three-day event. TVC News correspondent Ifunaya Eze reports.
The celebration aims to provide a forum for sub-regional cooperation as well as fostering closer interactions between subscribers and providers of shipping services. Considering the theme, African Continental Free Trade Agreement, a veritable platform for African shippers to mainstream into global trade, participants agree that effective strategies will be necessary to stimulate economic growth.
It is an obvious fact that making the AFCFTA a reality will require creating national institutions for implementing the agreement, in addition to institutional coordination mechanisms for execution between the public sector, the private sector, and donors.
The reorientation and reorganization of intra-African trade should start from our sub-region. When we get it right in West and Central Africa, it would be much easier to connect and freely trade with other regions of the continent.
With the market estimated to be worth $29 trillion in Africa, participants underscore the need to fix excess tariffs and transportation challenges that are impeding legitimate trade in the region.
When adequate measures are put in place to reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers that hamper trading between countries and the continent, then we will be on our way to achieving greater economic development for the continent.
In the coming decades and even today, value chains present veritable opportunities for developing countries to become part of the global economy, to imbibe and adapt the most needed procedures and processes that will add value to their products.
To move forward and work hand in hand with the international community to institute global best practices in our own shipping industry.
The Nigerian Ports Authority, more than ever before, is poised to hold hands with the shipping community in turning yearly themes of commemoration from mere rhetorics to actualities.
A growing realization has emerged that sub-regional cooperation can be very effective. Based on this, the Union of African Shippers Council is reviewing its objectives to maximize the sub-region trade competitiveness. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
Last year, Nigeria's aviation sector grappled with a lot of challenges ranging from hiking jet airfare and airfare, regulatory, institutional and structural challenges, among others. Due to the challenges, some airlines, including domestic and international flights, were forced to limit their operations in the country. Earlier on TVC News Business Nigeria, a flagship business show, the chairman of United Nigerian Airlines, Professor Obiora Okonkwo, highlighted some of the key issues and policies that impacted the aviation sector last year, while also making projections for 2023.
Knowing that we have a population over 200 million, I think that you still have to get up to 50% of this population able to fly. And don't also forget that we were able to do this within some economic difficulties. All right? So obviously some people can attribute it to ever-increasing security challenges, traveling by road, and then also bad road network. That's fine. You can take it away from them, but it's also important to note that even in the Western world, where the roads are perfect, more or less, and then the security is available, they still have high population of people traveling, greater percentage of the people also use air. So that's what we also think, that no matter what happens, if we get all the rules right and improve all the securities in our own environment, this industry still has high potentials of growth. That's as regards to the local travels. And that will even be better with improved and better economy.
Professor Obiora Okonkwo there is also the spokesperson of Airline Operators of Nigeria and chairman, United Nigerian Airlines. With about 2 weeks to the January 31st deadline of old Naira notes to seize as illegal tender, economic analysts are calling on the CBN to review the implementation of the Naira redesign policy, as businesses in the country as well as citizens are facing multiple challenges, and most are resorting to various electronic payment channels to carry out their transactions on account of the scarcity of the new Naira notes. Also speaking to us, the Chief Executive Officer of Kari Assets Management Limited, Johnson Chukwu, noted that the new Naira policy has not achieved the much-needed monetary price stability.
There is clearly some logistic challenge that the central bank may be having in terms of dispensing the new Naira notes. That should ordinarily have been. I think there are two things. One, there may have been a design to limit the volume of the new Naira notes, of Naira in circulation, by not dispensing so much of cash, and therefore compelled citizens to begin to use alternative payment platforms for their transactions. That could be one of the reasons why we're witnessing what's going on now. The second factor could be the central bank may be having some logistic challenges. If you consider the fact that there is a bank branch in almost all the local governments in the country, that may not have permeated all the nooks and crannies of the country. But they are POS operators, and they are also ATM machines, automated teller machines, that by now should be dispensing only the new Naira notes. So there's no justification whatsoever why these channels of dispensing of new notes are not exclusively dispensing new Naira notes. So, and that's why I said they are possible two reasons. One, a design by the central bank to limit the volume of currency in circulation, and two, possible bottlenecks or logistic challenges that it may be having in terms of the volume of cash it has printed, new Naira notes it has printed, and the channels for dispensing them to the public.
Well, today's trading session at the Nigerian Exchange closed negative with a loss in market capitalization. The all-share index decreased by 0.31% to close at 52,348.82 basis points. Markets closed negative as Chalaram led the losers chart with 9.7%, followed by Prestige Assurance 8.7%. Livestock 7.69%, Mutual Benefit 6.25%, and Honeywell Flour 6.22%. Well, on the gainers chart, Presco led the gainers chart, followed by WAPIC Insurance. We have FTN Cocoa, RT Briscoe, and ABC Transport. That's for trading at the end of activities for the first work day of this week. Analyzing today's performance, an equities trader who joined us earlier with Apt Securities and Funds Limited, Mr. Jami Mohammed. He says, though the market traded in red, speculators can also take advantage for quick profits in the market.
And the market lost 0.31%, and the index that measured the performance of the general market closed around 52,348 points. And the volume traded in the day was around 220 million units of shares worth about 3.248 billion. And we have 22 gainers, we have 20 gainers and we have 22 losers. So the activity in the market is a bit low, and this is not unconnected with the fact that we have a kind of improved activity that we had last week. So this week is tend to open this way, just because of the fact that, as I've said earlier, that the economy is going to be a bit slower. Activity in the economy is going to be a bit slower, looking at the
first quarter of the year, and we may likely see it in this way. Though the market is still there for us, for those that want to invest in our market, look at fundamental sound stock and also have a long-term horizon in their investment objective.